Yes guys, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. If you are new around here, I am Coach Indy. In today's video we're going to be looking at an amateur footballer versus a professional footballer. Okay, so we're going to look at the differences between both of those, what the training standards like, what's the intensity like at training, what's the preparation like leading up to training and games, what's the lifestyle like as a professional footballer versus an amateur footballer, or what it means to be a professional footballer, or what it means to be as an amateur footballer. Maybe do you have more passion as an amateur footballer because there's so much money in the professional game. We're going to look at loads of different things, many things to sort of be covered in this video. If you are new around here, please consider subscribing to our channel. We try and post twice a week. One will be coaching content or tactics ball analysis, maybe some compilation videos, and another video will be FPL related / Premier League related as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's just everything I've accumulated through working with amateur footballers all the way through to professional footballers. What are the key differences I see, and just getting some information back from those players as well. Hope you guys enjoy this one. So what is the definition of an amateur footballer versus a professional footballer? So an amateur footballer is someone who plays for fun, for excitement, for joy, just to maybe kill some time, maybe engage in a certain activity, i.e. football in this case. And finally, they just aren't very good at football. That's why amateur footballers exist, because they can't necessarily commit to becoming anything more than that. Whereas a professional footballer, they are a professional. It's an occupation, it's a job. They live, breathe and eat football. Is just what they love to do, and they work obviously individually and collectively in a team environment, which is vitally important in the game of football. So let's get into some of the pros of being an amateur footballer. Now, the first thing that springs to mind for me is there's no pressure. You know, at the top level, Premier League, International, Champions League, there is pressure on every single game. Whereas being an amateur footballer, you can just go out there, have fun, enjoy yourselves. You know, there might be the odd time you have a little bit of pressure. Maybe you're going for a League Cup, or you're maybe big league game or something like that. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're comparing it to a professional, there's no real pressure. We touched on it earlier. You can play for fun and enjoyment. And obviously, there's some social benefits to this as well. You know, if you're playing Saturday afternoon, you might meet up with some of your teammates for breakfast, maybe on a Saturday, or if you play maybe on a Sunday, you might grab some food after your sort of Sunday morning game. And on top of that, there's no real commitment. You know, if you can only play every 2 weeks because maybe you have to work every other weekend as well, and you can play every 2 weeks, and that's fine as well. Whereas you don't have to be committed to play, you know, 3 games a week or 2 games a week, etc. So they're the kind of the pros to being an amateur footballer. So what are some of the cons of being an amateur footballer? And I'm sure as we go through this list here, you would have experienced some of these things on the list. So first of all, disorganized setups. Now, where do I start with this? You might have to over time, you might have experienced turning up to games and there not been enough kit. So you've learned to bring your own shorts, your own socks, etc. You might get a text on a Friday night from the gaffer saying, "Are you available for the Saturday?" So it's very last minute, less than 24 hours before. You might have made plans with the family, with the missus, etc. So that's a couple of examples of being disorganized within a setup. Lack of professionalism. You might turn up, you know, half an hour before the game on a Sunday morning, 15 minutes kind of warm up, and then you're away you go. So that's a lack of professionalism. Whereas in the professional game, you're doing your warm up probably 45-50 minutes before, maybe an hour, depending if you're a goalkeeper or not. You might have to train and play games after your 9 to 5. So you might finish your job 9 to 5, and then you've got to travel 45 minutes to an hour to go and train or play a game. You might get in at maybe 10-11 o'clock at night. So that's a disadvantage in terms of being an amateur footballer. Fragile body. Now, if you're going out maybe Friday, Saturday nights, and you're playing games early the next day after drinking lots of alcohol and probably having unhealthy food, it's going to take a toll on your body, and it might end up shortening your career in that sense. Facilities and pitches. Everyone would have played on like fields basically, and just bobbly pitches, none of this carpet malarkey, especially on Sunday league. They don't obviously particularly look after them that much. So yeah, that obviously look at the Premier League at the moment, everything's just absolute carpet. Whereas obviously, the facilities, for example, you might turn up and you're in an absolute box of 15 lads. There might only be 3 showers. You're taking it in turns afterwards as well. So the facilities are going to be very poor. Okay, so let's just flip it. Let's look at some of the pros of being a professional footballer. And obviously, it's their full-time employment, it's their job, it's a career, it's the dream job in many, many ways. I know if you're living in the UK in particular, you watch the Premier League football growing up, and you see your role models, you see your team playing on a Saturday afternoon, and you just aspire to be a footballer yourself growing up. So, you know, it's a dream job. I'm sure every boy growing up at my age, and even boys and girls now, that's what they kind of want to do because they see their idols on TV every weekend. You know, obviously in the Premier League in particular, there is huge amounts of money, astronomical amounts of money. So financially, they're going to be absolutely secure. I don't think there's going to be any footballer in the Premier League in particular who are going to be struggling in that sense. Traveling to new countries, you know, if you're playing in Europe, for example, you get to go to Barcelona, Madrid, etc., Lisbon, Turin. You know, you get to visit these different countries and cultures. It might only be for 24 hours, 48 hours, etc. But it's just being in and around that environment, changing it up from the UK as well. Representing your country, this is a big deal, you know, especially if you're an Englishman, you know, get to represent your country, go and play for England at Wembley, home of football. It's a big deal. Not just England, obviously, there's other countries as well. Not many people get to do that, you know. When you hang up your boots and when it's all said and done, you can say, I've represented my country. You know, that's a pretty big thing to say, right? Next thing I just want to talk about is social media growth, publicity, and celebrity status, if you like. So obviously within social media in this day and age, it's absolutely huge. You get to grow that profile, get yourself known more. Obviously, you're going to be in the public figure even more so, and you kind of get that celebrity status. You look at Cristiano Ronaldo, David Beckham years ago as well, and there's many other footballers, Lionel Messi, for example. Now, you get that kind of celebrity status, not just within the country you play or the country you were birthed, but just globally, you know. Sponsorship opportunities. So, you know, the social media side of things go kind of hand in hand with this as well, and obviously playing for a big club as well can kind of link into this. But if you're growing yourself and you're in a positive way, nothing negative, etc., you're likely to get more sponsorship opportunities. If you've got a big public figure on maybe on Instagram, you've got big numbers there, for example, you might get the likes of Gucci, Nike, etc. You can kind of do these individual brand deals with you. So those opportunities will come if you've got a big following. So what are some of the cons of being a professional footballer? Now, the first thing that sprung to mind for me was the social media criticism and the online abuse that they just get regularly, you know, and even the racism and stuff. So you spoke about the Euros, at the end of the Euros for England, and you've got the 3 black lads who suffered a lot of online and racist abuse. But beyond that as well, just, you know, people just saying random comments against you negatively just because they're playing football. And it's not necessary. What have they done to others to deserve that? And obviously that might lead to mental health issues. And that's not to say that, you know, you don't get mental health issues if you're an amateur footballer or semi-professional footballer, but we have seen some of this sort of linked in together with the online stuff as well, you know. You have a short career. You know, most footballers, they probably break through around sort of 20 years old. They get to 35 and they're still playing. That's a very good career. So 10 to 15 years is, you know, kind of the max, if you like. And then after that, they've got to think about doing something else. Can you imagine if you're an accountant and you're 24 years old, you become an accountant, and then all of a sudden you get to 34 or you get to 40, you go, bang, I've got to do something else. It doesn't happen. That you're an accountant, and unless you really want to change your occupation, as a footballer, you kind of have to do it. You know, you go into your coaching, you go into managerial work, punditry, etc. You're always in the public eye, so you know you might not get to do some certain things that you want to do. You know, you're always going to be criticism of people having phones now and social media. Things are going to get uploaded to the internet very quickly, and you're probably going to get some negative criticism for it as well. So you kind of almost have to lock yourselves into your own sort of circle, if you like, and maybe not leave the house as much as you would like to. You know, obviously with the fame and with the celebrity status, you might get fake friends, you might get fake boyfriends and girlfriends, etc. And you might not get a kind of a true reflection of who you are as well as a person. People might be using you, for example, sorry. And obviously injuries. You know, if you get injured as an accountant for a Sunday league team, you can still carry on crunching numbers. Whereas if you break your leg as a footballer, okay, there's things you can still do in terms of your rehab and stuff and other bits and bobs. But ultimately, your job is to go and play football on a Saturday afternoon on the grass, and you won't be able to do that. You might be out for 9 months. So that's another thing. If you could pick up 1 or 2 injuries, big injuries throughout your 10-year career, that could be the best part of 2 years gone out of that 10-year career or 15-year career. So injuries do play a big part. I think that's a big negative, a big sort of con, if you like, for being a professional footballer. So I just wanted to add some additional sort of information in terms of being an amateur footballer. Obviously, their lifestyle was completely different. They work 9 till 5, Monday to Friday. You might get pissed on a Friday and a Saturday night, and then go and play a game on the Saturday or the Sunday after probably having a really unhealthy breakfast or nothing at all, really dehydrated, etc. So yeah, the lifestyle is completely different. Obviously, training and matches. I've touched on the alcohol side of things, the unhealthy foods, the takeaways, the dirty kebabs, carrying the timber, etc. That kind of thing all kind of links in together with lifestyle. The time management, they can turn up late and there's probably no repercussions. There's been instances I've known in the past where someone will turn up 15 minutes into a game and then they just literally just jump on. They might be playing with 10 players. The gaffer goes, right, we need you, you're straight in. So they turn up late because they're probably pissed from the night before. So yeah, that's kind of a situation where time management is very, very poor. Just going to the football side of things a bit more detail. So SAQ, decision making, lack of quality, all those things are going to be massively down. Again, it all links to the lifestyle and the work they have, 9 to 5, etc. If you don't know what SAQ stands for, is speed, agility, and quickness. And then sleep deprived. I think that's something that's a big deal. You look at professional footballers now; they often try and get naps in the afternoon, so they're fresh, ready to go. Especially if you have an evening game. Whereas again, if you're going out on the Friday night, on the Saturday night, you're probably getting in the early hours of the morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you're out playing maybe again at maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. And you're not getting that enough sleep in your body, that enough rest, if you like, to go and perform. And finally, some additional information to being a professional footballer. So first and foremost, they do the basics at a very, very high level, like your passing and receiving, your first touch, your awareness, your crossing ability over different types of ranges, etc., at a really, really high level, because they understand that the basics are the foundation, the fundamentals of being a professional footballer. On top of that, the quality is absolutely top. Like the game of football now at the top level is the best it's ever been. Look at the Premier League, the Champions League, international level. The details are absolutely huge, and small 1% gains can make the difference. Picking up 3 points at the weekend. The professionalism is absolutely elite. Like the recovery and rehydration and refueling, etc., between games and matches has to be at top level, because the game is so demanding physically on the body. So it's important to get all those elements in before you go and perform a game, 2 or 3 days later, or the next day training, for example. I think something that's interesting as well, and something that I've kind of learned over coaching many, many players over the years, is being able to absorb information, detailed information within your units, individually, collectively as a team. They can absorb that information quicker, and then go and translate that onto the pitch as well. So that's something that's maybe something that's not spoken about enough. The recovery between sets and drills is far quicker. So what I mean by that, guys, is if you're doing an SAQ drill, that's 4 sets that last maybe 15 seconds each. Between that 15 seconds and you go again on set 2, it is a lot quicker, and they can still perform, sets 2, 3, and 4 at a high level. Whereas as an amateur, it might take you longer to recover, and then the performance level also dips as well. And then finally, a big thing for me, always talk about how the most important thing in football is intelligence for me. So the speed of thought, speed of thinking, and being proactive in your thinking as well is absolutely paramount. Again, especially at the Premier League, especially at international Champions League level, they are the differences to winning competitions and not winning competitions. There you have it, guys. That's another video in the bag for you guys. More of an educational one, more of an insightful one, if you like. The differences between what a amateur footballer looks like versus a professional footballer. Let me know in the comment sections below if I've missed something really, really obvious in terms of any of the categories, or maybe some experiences that you guys have had within the professional game or the amateur game that you want to kind of share with us on our channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, and if you haven't clicked the notification bell either, please do so. We try and post twice a week if we can. One's normally kind of FPL/Premier League related. The second video is more sort of educational or coaching, tactics ball analysis, compilation videos. It's all football related, guys, but second video is something a little bit different. And obviously just drop this video a like as well. The more likes we get on the video, it does help with the YouTube algorithm. I'll leave it there, guys. I'll see you guys next time around.